The FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders by John Potash.
Does new evidence support how U.S. intelligence targeted Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, rappers, and Linked Ethnic Leftists? Potash will be at 2 book signings this weekend following a sellout in Harlem 2 months ago. WBAI's Evening News asked him what he hopes people will learn from his book.
Since these assassinations, several federal officials confirmed that the FBI orchestrated them through police intelligence units. For example, a Los Angeles FBI counterintelligence program agent named M. Wesley Swearingen published this memoir, FBI Secrets, in the mid-1990s. FBI agent Swearingen stated in interviews that the FBI's counterintelligence program continued for decades under different names. CIA whistleblowers such as Phil Agee and John Stockwell also confirmed the CIA's consistent aid of these programs into the present. With the Atlanta police shooting at Tupac Shakur, U.S. intelligence appeared to use an even more sophisticated strategy against Tupac: psychological profiling. Huey Newton had written in his book War Against the Panthers how the FBI had used psychological profiling in unsuccessfully trying to assassinate him in the 1970s. One late night in December, a police officer started beating Mumia's brother, Billy Cook, on the head until he bled within eyesight of Mumia in his cab. Mumia came over to the scene and bullets rang out, leaving the police officer dead and Mumia wounded. Much evidence, including many witnesses and even an affidavit from one of the shooters, support that U.S. intelligence used psychological profiling to lure Mumia to the scene. Police intelligence could then kill Mumia, either there or with a frame-up for murdering the police officer. One of the shooters, a contract killer now in prison for another murder, said that corrupt police and mafia paid him to kill the police officer. U.S. intelligence appeared to make another attempt to murder Tupac while the jury deliberated this case in November of 1994. An associate of Jacques Agnant had offered a large amount of cash to record a song at a Times Square recording studio. When Tupac entered the lobby, gunmen fired 4 bullets into the rap star, including 2 bullets in his skull, according to the doctor's affidavit seen here. The bullets miraculously missed Tupac's brain. Tupac, seen here carried away on a stretcher, started giving the finger to the media because of the way they constantly misrepresented attacks on him. Much evidence suggests that police intelligence orchestrated this shooting. For example, award-winning journalist Kathy Scott later reported that the security guard said he offered a police security camera videotape of the incident to the police. They refused it and closed the case. The FBI branch of U.S. intelligence started with Attorney General Palmer's Bureau of Information. They led the infamous Palmer raids that rounded up thousands of Italian anarchists and other labor organizers. They notoriously executed Italian anarchist labor organizers Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, despite global protests about what appeared as a murder frame-up. Palmer's assistant, J. Edgar Hoover, helped change the Bureau's name to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI. The CIA showed its extreme prejudices when they colluded with British intelligence and other European intelligence groups to save many top Nazis. Insiders, such as U.S. Department of Justice prosecutor John Loftus, who led investigations of Nazi war criminals, documented this extensively in books such as The Secret War Against the Jews. U.S. officials have claimed to save Nazis to fight communists, but these Nazis actually fought against any form of real democracy. For example, Western intelligence worked with them to carry out many coups against elected leaders in Latin America, amongst other operations. As stated in the caption, this first picture is of a Nazi flag waving in the Andes after a 1980 Bolivian coup. Professor Peter Dale Scott, a former Canadian diplomat and professor at University of California, Berkeley, wrote of how Klaus Barbie, the butcher of Lyon, seen here, helped orchestrate that coup in Bolivia. Professor Scott also covered how Walter Rolf, seen left, was inventor of the portable gas chamber in his work for Hitler. Rolf then worked as a Chilean torturer for CIA directors such as Alan Dulles, seen right, after aiding the CIA-assisted Chilean coup of elected socialist leader Salvador Allende. This CIA document discusses their work with the coup plotters. The CIA then assisted in Chile-based multinational Operation Condor that assassinated Latin American leftists around the world, according to the New York Times, and detailed in this CIA document. These Nazis also advised U.S. intelligence in their cultural war against democracy at home and abroad. Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Ben Bagdikian, dean of the University of California, Berkeley School of Journalism, found other ways the wealthiest families control Americans' information. Besides directing the CIA, the wealthiest families own the most multinational corporations. In his book, The Media Monopoly, Bagdikian detailed how they share boards of directors with the media companies, and that under law, the director of a company is obliged to act in the interest of his or her own company. Thus, oil companies, defense contractors, banks, insurance firms, and pharmaceutical firms who share directors with Time Incorporated, television companies, and big city newspapers should vote to censor information that can affect their profits. For example, Tupac criticized the government in having money for war but they can't feed the poor on his second CD. Defense contracting company General Dynamics shared at least one director with Time Incorporated and would have supported the censorship Time Warner started against Tupac. Tupac attended the Vegas Tyson fight and headed for a post-fight concert in Knight's car. This is the last picture of Tupac taken minutes before his death. Death Row Security Chief Reggie Wright made the unusual move of keeping guards out of their car, taking guns away from the guards, and giving Tupac's other personal bodyguard a mobile phone without a battery. Gunmen did a fatal drive-by shooting on Tupac. Despite over 13 bullets fired in Knight's direction, not one directly hit him. Kevin Hackey said he had documents to prove that FBI and ATF agents were in Tupac's motorcade and watched his murder. Many fatal shootings amongst the gangs ended the peace truce until activists spread the word that the Crips likely didn't shoot Tupac. Tupac died at the age of 25. The night of the next Mike Tyson fight, somebody fatally shot Yafu Fula in the head. Fula, seen here, was Tupac's backup singer as part of the Outlaws. He was also Bronx Black Panther founder Sekou Odinga's son and had told Las Vegas police he thought he could identify Tupac's murderer. Vegas police had told the media that there was no forthcoming witnesses. On Tupac's final completed CD, Don Columinati, The 7-Day Theory, he had lyrics discussing Haitian Jack Agnant, saying that he knew he was working for the feds or the FBI in setting up his New York frame-up and shooting. This dispelled the notion that Biggie Smalls set up the shooting, effectively ending the East versus West rap war. Evidence supports that police intelligence have targeted many other politically linked musicians. A Senate Intelligence Committee's report on U.S. intelligence abuses included an intelligence memorandum on the targeting of political musicians, reprinted in Alex Constantine's The Covert War Against Rock. Musicians targeted included Martin Luther King funder Harry Belafonte, SNCC supporters The Last Poets, Jamaican Socialist Prime Minister supporter Bob Marley, Rage Against the Machine, Spearhead, Dead Prez, Nas, The Coup, Mos Def, and Eminem, amongst others. The crash unit was a Rampart unit, and around the same time the Rampart unit came back into the news. A photographer spent decades trying to get back his film of Robert F. Kennedy's assassination from the Rampart Division's police unit in 1996, and the case finally reached trial that summer. A judge forced Rampart to give Enyart his roll of film, but Rampart said someone stole it out of a police car on the way to court. The Rampart Division was one of 18 Los Angeles police divisions. William Turner, a 10-year FBI agent turned journalist, and John Christian, a broadcast journalist for ABC News until 1966, did an extensive investigation. After 10 years of research, they wrote that Rampart worked to cover up the CIA assassination of leading presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy in 1968. Turner, Christian, and other researchers cited how 13 bullets were fired, while arrested gunman Sirhan Sirhan had a gun that only carried 8 bullets.
Power to the people, heard that before.